grab a cup and tune on in. Robert and Dave got that southern charm, let the laughter begin. From the morning funny to Maga Minute, ain't no better way to start your day the southern way, with a little joke and pray. We're just southern folks talking southern things, front porch swinging where the church bells rang. From Mama Said to Hump Day News, we keep it real with down home views. Sunday morning in the Word, get that gospel flow. Prayer time calls, so let's let our troubles go. Come Monday night, Mama Said is bringing the truth, and when it's night talk with Dave, man, you know it's getting loose. We're just southern folks talking southern things, stories and sports where the good times hang. From SFP News to I Remember That, we tell it like it is, and that's a fact. Got our veteran of the week, gotta show our pride. Pets of the week, bringing love worldwide. Talking paranormal, digging true crime. Southern fried stories all the dang time. So pull up a chair, y'all, and stay a while. Ain't nothing like that southern style. From the morning show to the soundstage band, it's SFP Live, won't you give them a hand?
Thursday morning, if I get the mic loose. A fine Thursday morning it is to you. A brisk Thursday morning here on the banks of the Southern Fried River here in North Georgia. Rob not with me this morning. This is the Thursday Live. It's titled a little different. It's not just our SFP morning show. This is the Southern Fried Patriot morning show. This is one that I do on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And Rob will be back with me tomorrow, Friday morning, for the live Friday shows. Tonight he will be live with me for Cornbread Nation. Cornbread Nation. I've got a new logo for that we're going to be using in some of our probably our store for Cornbread Nation. You breadheads, although it doesn't have that on there. Might add it. I don't know, but it's a good logo. We'll be adding some stuff to that for the Cornbread Nation. Also tonight is Southern Fried Racing Hour. Southern Fried Racing Hour with co-host Dean Potts. Looking forward to that. We got a lot to catch up with on the racing, on the Homestead Miami race. They'll be at Martinsville this week, and we will capture that on the following Tuesday. That'll be the days off. We rotate that between Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so we'll be talking all things racing. It's been a great race season, but we'll talk about that tonight live, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Southern Fried Racing Hour with Dave and Dean, and having a lot of fun with that. Shout out to all his family who could be listening in. They've become followers of the show. We appreciate you. Give us a like, a follow, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. It does help. I've heard that many times. I've tried to help podcasters out. Again, when I'm on live, just me, I do live on audio side Podbean. So good morning to Podbean, and then eventually that'll go out to many, many live shows. We put up most of our shows on the audio side. We just flip them over to MP3s and move them up. We're on a number of audio sites, about 10 or 12. I can't remember the exact number, so they lag just a little behind once till we load them up. But when we go live, I think that's fairly instantaneous when I'm live in Podbean. We have some folks across the world that join us in the streams as well as the live streams. We have some friends from down under and friends in Thailand. And they're on a very different time zone than we are right now. But we're talking morning here, and they're talking night. So that's the way the world goes, right? Well, it's a good, like I said, brisk morning. I don't know what it's like where you're at, but it's a little cool this morning here in North Georgia. The exploding story is still raging across the news and print and legacy media and everything you want to say about, of course, they've got something to hammer on. So the app texting story, however you want to word that, but basically the pre-Yemen Houthi strike military information and what exactly happened and when and how much, and this Atlantic story. And I watched a portion of, I had a meeting I had to be in and I could not be in it, but I watched the White House press secretary navigate through that, prepared statements, and then obviously taking questions, which continued to press on this matter. Don't forget this morning, before we dive into that, Patriot Mobile promo code is active, as you see on the screen, Cornbread. I'll be signing up the business phone for the podcast today as we slowly switch our stuff over. We're just it just went live. So I say slowly, not because we're dragging our feet. It just went live. In fact, we don't have our landing page yet. All that should come next week. Some of the marketing for that, we're putting out our own marketing, just letting people know. You can make the switch. It's a patriotic company based in Texas, 11 years in business. Not going anywhere. You can still fly on your favorite carriers, cell towers and all that, whether it's any of the big ones that you think about. And they'll ask you which one you want to stay with and which plan is best for you. But you can get this thing down as cheap as $26. And I'm going to tell you, that's today, people need that. They average about 40, the average cost. That's about where people ride with their some will get a little more, some a little less, because that average is about $40 a month per line. Wow, that's cheap. I'm going to tell you, in today's world. And you're supporting a company that supports, the First Amendment, Second Amendment. They're pro-life, they're pro-America, and they're, faith-based. I mean, they don't have a bit of problem with talking about Jesus, and I like that. So, as well as Mammoth Nation, that's another affiliate of ours. You'll see those on the screen. And of course, Debbie and Podbean are also affiliates of ours. The story continues to rage. And of course, they're coming after, especially Pete Hegseth. They didn't like him anyway, being the liberals and the legacy media. And they're just, they're calling on him to step down. He's not going to step down. And I have to give President Trump a lot of credit. He stood behind his man, and that, he's just not going to be pushed around. But in a lot of cases, sometimes somebody in politics, they fall on the sword, so to speak. And, we thought that might happen, not with Hegseth, but as more information came out about this, about who actually did it. But the headline on Newsmax this morning is Trump blast witch hunt, quote, witch hunt, as Yemen chat controversy rages on. And the president was, as it says, peppered with questions about it. I wonder where they were at peppering with questions when Benghazi was going on. Where was the peppering with questions about that? Or the boatloads of, or the pallet loads of cash was given to Iran. And just, as my mind thinks back to different controversies, or Hunter's involvement in Ukraine, or we could go on and on and on. But, that's the, right now, they're just going after him. Pete Hegseth, as the president, is labeling this a political smear job. And the Atlantic has released the entire chat, signal chat, showing Hegseth's detailed attack plans against the Houthis. So, there was a lot of question early on, was this a violation of national security? And they were saying it was not. But the chat that came out on Wednesday provided the exact times of warplane launches, strike packages, and targets before the men and women were flying those attacks against Yemen Houthis this month on behalf of the United States were even airborne, according to what was released. Now, I'm just going by what was said. This disclosure, it goes on to say the disclosure follows 2 intense days during which Trump's senior most cabinet members of his intelligence and defense agencies have struggled to explain how details that current and former U.S. officials have said would have been classified wound up in an unclassified signal chat that included Atlantic editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg. Hegseth has refused to say whether he posted classified information onto Signal. He is traveling in the Indo-Pacific and to date has only scoffed at questions, saying he did not reveal, quote, war plans, end quote. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and CIA Director John Ratcliffe told members of the Senate Intelligence Committee on Tuesday that it was up to Hegseth to determine whether the information he was posting was classified or not. What was revealed was jaw-dropping in its specificity, if I can get the words out this morning, my mouth not working, and includes the type of information that is kept very close, hold, to protect the operational security of a military strike. In the group chat, Hegseth posted, according to what that was released, 12:50 Eastern Time, or 12:15 Eastern Time, F-18's launch first strike package. 13:45, trigger-based F-18 first strike window starts. Target terrorist is at his known locations, so should be on time. Also, strike drones launch, in quotation, MQ-9s, end quote. Then another one, 14:10, more F-18s launch. This was enclosed into a second strike package text. And then 14:15, strike drones on target. This is when the first bombs will definitely drop, pending earlier trigger-based targets. And it goes on. There's quite a few things that were listed here. He goes on to say, Godspeed to our warriors in this string that they've released. Goldberg had said he asked the White House if it opposed publication. The White House responded it would prefer he did not publish this information, of course, which he did. Obviously, he's not going to sit on that. I'm amazed that he even asked, but it's going to continue to rage, and they're not going to let this go because they're looking for something to get back at the president and this administration on. It's a flub. I mean, I don't see how you can list it as anything else. The operation was a success. They just need to clean this up and move on. Obviously, we need to make sure that stuff like that doesn't happen. What will be seen here is, can they weather the storm, or is somebody going to have to, again, become the fall person for this as time goes on? This is not, I'm not bashing the president. I'm just saying it was pretty ugly. I mean, it's gotten even uglier since it initially was talked about. And it's going to dominate the news. Let's face it, it's going to dominate the news. There's a lot of, they're just not going to let it go. And, I'm not saying that they should. That's what news does. And the press is looking to, go on the attack. And they've got them a juicy morsel here of information that details, things at the highest level. And, it's just, where does this go? And the Democrats are looking for a probe into what happened here. And, that's going to gather some support on the Hill. I don't know how much, but Caroline Leavitt, this White House spokesperson, was just, they spent time really bashing this guy and how he's escalated hoax stories before. But this one, although it's, obviously they're gonna run with it. I don't know that you can label it a hoax if it's legit. That's the question. Is this legit information that was released? I think at this point it's pretty well a given that this information is legit. It's just, does it fall under is it classified information? As more is shared, that's hard not to say that, just being honest. Hegseth, for his part, has said that on this chat, which you're giving credence to it and saying it basically is real, because he said no units, no locations shared on the Signal chat. So by saying that, you're not denying that it happened. So it's a mistake, and it's a mistake at a high level. Of course, what they're going to say is that this shows your inability to do the job. That's ridiculous. I think this could have happened to anybody. There's been some on both sides of the aisle. There has, at the highest levels, there has been information that has been shared on you know uh, devices and things that weren't encrypted before. They just, somebody messed up here. I mean, who was, they've had their idea of how this person got in there, who put them in there. They talked a little bit about that, but anyway, it's unfortunate we have to keep talking about it, but it's news, and it's news that they got a hold of, and who's to blame here? I mean, you can't blame them if you did it and you messed up. You just got to deal with the fallout, and then make sure, by gosh, that it never happens again. And then there's no story. I mean, you either have it or you don't. I mean, you just gotta. And I know that nobody likes to really admit mistakes and stuff, but sometimes people do. We're not all perfect. This is a big flub, a big one. Thankfully, nothing bad happened. This would be a much bigger story if American service members had been killed, if planes had been shot out of the sky or something like that, and there had been deaths. Clean it up. Got to get it cleaned up. It was, there was probably a time, in this nation when a news person would never release this. They would just go and say, "Hey, listen, you included me in this, and did you mean for that?" But today's world, it's all about getting a hold of something, and there's not much patriotism left from some of this country, and again, this person is not going to hold back on that. What a mistake. Pete Hegseth insisted that he didn't share, as he said, no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information. He further insisted that he sees war plans every single day, but he is not the person who devises them. That's another deflection. Quote, who does the attack plans and war plans? Question, he said, pointing at officers behind him. Men like that admiral right there, or Eric Kurilla, our general at CENTCOM, they do attack plans and war plans, and thank God we have those men. They do it, and do it well. Our enemies know it. Hegseth added that his job is to provide updates in, quote, real time to keep cabinet members and others informed. That's what I did, he said. That's my job. The war fighters will take the fight to the enemy, and I love what they do. Under President Trump's leadership, our enemies are on notice. We will have peace through strength, and we'll keep putting our troops first. I think at this point they're just going to continue to move forward, unless unless there's some sort of a Congress level probe that can get off the ground, a committee or something that can call people in for testifying or something like that. It'll just be something that stays out there, and we'll just move on. And with time, they'll continue to talk about it. But it's a mistake. And again, thank God nothing bad happened. And it's not, like he said, there's things that weren't shared there, so they didn't know. They have times, but they didn't know direction or where they were coming from or where they were at. So it's not the full attack plan, but there are portions of it that were being talked about. And it wasn't like it was being released to our enemies, but it wasn't secured. I mean, obviously, we got a Democrat in there, and but that's on them. They messed up, and whoever they are, I think that's still to be determined. Exactly, I think it's pretty well given who they believe did this, but we'll leave that for them to go through. But I think the president's standing behind his people. I think he'll just weather the storm and move on. I really thought that they might be forced to remove somebody, and because that's what happens. But give him credit; he's standing behind him. It's nice to have a boss like that. It's not pretty, and I know he's not enjoying it. And I'm sure behind the scenes there's been a lot of talk about these kinds of things. Obviously, you would think they would, and so. We'll see. There's a lot of other news that'll be going on. Um, Another headline, which I think will be pleasing to a lot of patriots, is that President Trump has said he will look at the killing of Ashley Babbitt. He was on Greg Kelly Reports in the Roosevelt Room. There's been portions of that I've been able to preview. I didn't get to see the interview. I want to go back and watch it. But he said he wasn't aware that the Department of Justice was adverse to settling the lawsuit. A judge set a 2026 trial date in a $30 million suit that that was, and this has continued to be pressed about this. And he went on to say, "I'm a big fan of Ashley Babbitt." And Ashley Babbitt was a really good person who was a big MAGA fan, Trump fan, and she was innocently standing there. They even say trying to sort of hold back the crowd. And a man did something to her that was unthinkable when he shot her. We know who that man is. They cleared him, but we can see the video and we know who that is. And I think it's a disgrace. I'm going to look into that. I did not know that. Trump also said it's a disgrace that the Capitol Hill police officer who shot Babbitt, Lieutenant Michael Byrd, was cleared of wrongdoing, is still with the United States Capitol Police and received a promotion in 2023. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at that too. His reputation was, I won't even say, let's find out about his reputation. We're going to find out, Trump said, but I watched that and I saw that. And by the way, she was killed, but nobody else was killed. But we'll see. That will make a lot of people glad that he is at least mentioning that, because it was just sort of pushed to the side. And there's a lot of questions about that. Why was that shot fired at that moment, at that time, one shot to her? And we can see the video. We've seen the video. It's a chaotic scene. And she seemed to be trying to settle people down that were, acting out. And at that moment was, the first time when it really first broke out, they were really framing this as she was, they were defending their lives. She was coming through the window. I mean, there was a lot of things said about it through the glass, but as you saw the video, a lot of information was shared about it. That narrative changed quickly. But it'd be one that make a lot of patriots happy that he's at least going to look at it, because it needs, there's questions there, but who knows what'll come of it. The ongoing peace negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. Marco Rubio says it's going to take, he's Secretary of State, says it's going to take some time. And I think that it would be. They started out with the Black Sea ceasefire, and that stopped attacks in the Black Sea, or suppose that was the first, and they would expand it from there. But there's a lot of work that has to be done. He goes on to say it won't be simple. It'll take some time. At least we're on that road, and we're talking about those things. He said in a news conference in Jamaica, Russia and Ukraine agreed on parallel separate talks with U.S. envoys in Saudi Arabia to halt strikes in the Black Sea as the president, Donald Trump, pushes for an end to the war. The Kremlin said Wednesday that a revival of a deal on Black Sea shipping was subject to, quote, a number of conditions, end quote, and that Russia was discussing sanctions relief from the United States. Quote, we're going to evaluate that. Some of those conditions include sanctions that are not ours. They belong to the European Union, Rubio said. He said that the U.S. negotiators would meet and then will present that to the president, who will ultimately make a decision about what the next step is. I think it's a good thing that we have both the Ukrainians and the Russians talking about ceasefires, be they energy or be they potentially in the Black Sea, Rubio said. He earlier had called on Russia to accept without preconditions a proposed 30-day general ceasefire agreed by Ukraine. I saw, Zelensky gave a press conference where he said he believed that the president could get Russia to bring peace, and he had agreed to those conditions. French President Emmanuel Macron, meanwhile, renewed the call of Russia to accept without conditions and said it was, quote, much too early to consider lifting sanctions. Of course, the United States could lift some sanctions on their own without the European Union and take the lead there if enough progress was made. And there was a number of sanctions that were placed on by the Biden administration early on in the war. And that would, if they could get some sort of agreement, I could see where possibly that they would loosen some of those, maybe not fully, but that would be a show of good faith if they could get them to back off and agree. So take some time. You've got a war machine. You've got a lot of resources inside of Ukraine. You have Ukrainian forces inside the Russian region in Kursk. It's going to take some time, and it doesn't take but a bad day of death or destruction one way to cause the other. It's just full-on war again. They'll be sinking ships in the Black Sea and sending drones into Russia. And, it impacts globally. This is a global, if for nothing else, for the reason is a lot of as we know, the grain and stuff that comes out of Ukraine is, it supplies the world. I mean, there's minerals that they talked about. There's grain. The energy in the region is impacted because of the nuclear reactors that have been hit, other energy that's going on. And really this played into Russia's hands, and he knows it. Putin knows it. He's been trying to wrap up the energy control in the region for some time. So maybe they can get something done. It's going to be a slow go, but maybe, just maybe. I have to kind of think that Zelensky's going to have to probably move on for this to really take full hold. I could be wrong, but and have been and will be again many times. But I just think that he's saying all the right things right now. Early on, he was not saying anything that was conducive to getting a ceasefire. But I think he has changed, and of course the pressure is on by the United States for that. And we'll just have to see if they can get some sort of an agreement in place. Another big news that before we take a break, another big news that broke yesterday was the 25% tariff that was placed on by the president on imported autos. This is an ongoing battle, about the tariff wars, and a lot of it involves the auto industry, as they're trying to keep these, they're trying to bring some equal amount on tariffs, but let's face it, on the automobiles is to keep them from going into Mexico or somewhere else, and to hold those jobs here. He does say, the president does, that the 25% tariff is a $100 billion tax revenue. That's a lot of money, a lot of change. He says that it will foster domestic manufacturing, but could also put a financial squeeze on automakers that depends on global supply chains. This will continue to spur growth, Trump told reporters, will effectively be charging a 25% tariff. The $100 billion is to be raised annually. Could be complicated as even U.S. automakers source their components from around the world. They might be assembled even here, but all the parts, or a lot of them, come from suppliers that are around the world. Absolutely true. Remember way back they were talking about American-made cars, but then they started talking about how much of it was made elsewhere and more of it was actually coming from outside the United States, but was determined to be an American-made car because it was put together here. That was one of the ways that they got around that. But a lot of the parts come from overseas. And that could be, they could impact that. So shares in General Motors fell roughly 3% on Wednesday. In Wednesday's trading, Ford stock was up slightly. Shares in Stellantis, the owner of Jeep and Chrysler, dropped nearly 3.6%. The president has long said that tariffs against the auto imports would be a defining policy of his presidency, betting that the cost created by the taxes will cause more production to relocate to the United States while helping to narrow the budget deficit. But U.S. and foreign automakers have plants around the world to accommodate global sales while also maintaining competitive prices. Pardon me. And some critics contend it could take years for companies to design, build, and open new factories that Trump is promising. We're looking at much higher vehicle prices, said economist Mary Lovely, a senior fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics. We're going to see reduced choice. These kind of taxes fall more heavily on the middle and working class. She says more households will be priced out of the new car market, where prices already average about $49,000. That's incredible. And we'll have to hang on to aging vehicles. And thank you, President Obama, who years ago, with his Clash for Clunkers, kind of destroyed the used car parts and used car industry for a while in that horrible deal. And you'll talk to automaker or auto dealers. I did, and they said it was horrible. They had trouble getting hold of cars and parts. Somewhat overcome that now, but again, those cars are forever gone. So parts, even for those cars, even that many years ago, still could be around, were destroyed. So as his plan to prop up General Motors. So that's a lot of money. The tariffs are fully passed on to consumers. The average auto price could jump by $12,500. So it's a bumpy ride ahead. Let's be honest. It's a bumpy ride ahead as the tariff wars continue to occur. Oh my goodness. I won't be buying a new car anytime soon, and may never, probably ever buy another new car, to be honest, at my age. What I have is what I have, and if I did, I'd probably just buy something that was nice used. To be honest, I don't think I would buy another new one. You never say never, but I think for me personally, where I'm at in my life, I don't think that I would actually do that. So, but a lot of these things can drive up the demand for used cars, which would impact pricing there. But there's a lot of things you can get, a lot of used cars. In fact, the last vehicle I bought was a truck from a friend who was well taken care of and used, and got a good price. And I don't see me getting into the $50,000-$60,000 buying a new car. But that's important to some people. They like to switch and like to go to new cars, and as is their right to do so. And so that's my deal is not the same as everybody else's deal. So we'll see. Let's have a quick commercial. We'll be right back. Welcome to Thursday morning Southern Fried Patriotic, patriotic morning show with Dave in the AM. We'll be right back.
Hey, Southern Fried fans and your Cornbread Nation. Well, yeah, that's right. We're going to advertise for Mammoth Nation. To all proud Americans, we call attention to these thoughts. Are you tired of woke corporations that don't align with your values? I know we are. Look no further than Mammoth Nation, the ultimate destination for patriots like you and me and Rob and everybody else, including old crazy Uncle Jeb, who believe in putting America first. Here at the Southern Fried Podcast, we're proud to partner with Mammoth Nation because they share our unwavering commitment to faith, family, and yes, freedom. Just like us, Mammoth Nation believes in the power of the American spirit and the importance of preserving our great nation's heritage. When you join Mammoth Nation, you're not just getting access to amazing discounts on products and services. You're becoming a part of a community that stands against the forces trying to tear our country apart. From supporting veterans and first responders to promoting Christian values, Mammoth Nation is the go-to platform for conservatives who want to make their voices heard. So what are you waiting for? Join the Mammoth Nation movement today and start enjoying exclusive deals from businesses that share your America First values. Together, we can make America great again, one purchase at a time. Don't miss out on this opportunity to support a company that truly cares about our nation's future. Sign up for Mammoth Nation now and experience the difference of a community that puts America first. Use that QR code on the screen, folks, and that will take you right to the website where we also will be helped in your support of these values. We are customers of this great American company. Rob is a monthly supporter, and I am a lifetime member of Mammoth Nation. We're so appreciative of companies like this. Please be a supporter, not just for us, but for America. These companies. Hey, Southern Fried Podcast fans, this is Dave the AM for the Southern Fried Podcast. We want to advertise for W, who's got some special things going on. So are you tired of those energy drinks that you drink and they give you the jitters and the crashes that come from the typical drink? Look no further than W Energy Drink. It's a revolutionary new beverage that will keep you energized without any of those downsides. For a limited time, folks, a limited time, W is offering an incredible 30% off on everything they sell. That's right. You can stock up on your favorite flavors and save big while enjoying the smooth, sustained energy that only W can provide. I'm a customer member, and I can testify to this. I love this drink. No shakes, no crashes. And if it can help my mental acuity, I'm happy too. Awesome. They have a unique formula that provides you a perfect balance of focus and vitality without any of those unpleasant side effects that we don't want. No more of those shaking hands, crashing you in the middle of the day. Just pure clean energy to help you tackle any challenge that comes your way. But don't wait too long. This 30% offer won't last forever. Go on over to Dubby's website now and start shopping. Remember to smash that promo code Southern Fried into the area where they ask you to put that in there, and it'll help us as well. You're still going to get the 30%, but it'll let them know that you are supporting us, and so we appreciate it today. So try Dubby Energy Drink and experience the difference for yourself. Your body and mind will thank you for making the switch to the energy drink that truly delivers on its promises. Don't miss out on this fantastic opportunity to save big and upgrade your energy game with Dubby. Don't forget, use that promo code Southern Fried.
Got me on the pressure. She got me on the pressure. She likes the obvious heel. She don't like the love dog. She find that the man is.
Yeah, the great ZZ Top, saw them in concert one time. It was not the Eliminator tour. I think it was the tour after that. I'd been a fan of them since a lot of people became fans around the Eliminator time, and great songs on that album. Those two albums around that time frame are classic. But I was way back a ZZ Top fan, way back, and had albums. I still have some of those. Way back, El Loco and some of the others, where they weren't as marketable as that with the nice car, the coupe, and the ladies and everything. Way back, ZZ Top, they had the picture of the one where they were, had marijuana in the the bags on the front. But that Texas boogie and blues and blues boogie, just classic, and they still out there getting it. Of course, Dusty passed away, but they're still out there getting it, and great music. I remember once they put out a Back to the Roots kind of a blues album, and people that had became fans during the Eliminator top, that was all they knew. And I bought the album and a CD at the time, CD. And I remember this lady I knew, she said, my husband bought that. He hated it. He took it back, demanded his money back, that was not ZZ Top. I said, yes, it is. You just didn't know that because he became a fan at a certain time and, didn't know about their blues, really their Texas blues background. But it was, they had made this album. I don't remember the name of it, but it was very much, they'd gotten all these old amps together. They kind of made it sound even like an older recording with a little crackles and pops and stuff in it, which is great. And I thought it was a good album. It was a short blues song. So it's like, it would be the same thing as a Fleetwood Mac fan that only knew Rumors Forward. And if you go back into Fleetwood Mac's history, before Lindsey and Stevie joined the band, and even back before some of the other people came along, they were a blues band. And I used to have a triple CD of just all of those old blues recordings that they had, and the Peter Green era. And it would be the same thing if somebody gave you a copy of that. All you knew was Rumors. You probably hate it. I was a fan of both. I listened to both. Obviously, Rumors is legendary. Still one of the biggest selling albums. I still say albums of all time. It still continues to sell, and it's legendary, and is way up there in total sales. I mean, I think it's over like 40 million or something crazy. They, and then the great Lindsey Buckingham and his production and everything. Unfortunate Christine McVie's passing, and they'll never tour again like that if they ever tour. And of course, Lindsey had been let go, Buckingham, and I just the whole thing started falling into. I just wasn't a fan of them touring without him. And I get all the issues and stuff. It was a complicated band with a lot of complicated issues. But that lineup, that classic lineup, was the lineup, and I just wasn't a fan of the other. I'm sure Stevie Nicks will continue her solo career. I think Mick's pretty much done doing anything, and Lindsey is still very active. In fact, a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, he did a. This is back during the COVID time. He did a really nice live show that you could, he'd come from his house and he would play. He was telling stories about songs and playing. It was great. It was like an intimate moment with Lindsey, and he was going back looking at his solo, which there's a lot of stuff there, if of course the Vacation song being one of the big ones, but there's a lot of songs there if you're a fan of Lindsey Buckingham. Birthdays today for this March 27th. Mariah Carey, 55 years old today. It's kind of hard to believe, right? 55. Happy birthday to her. Halle Bailey, R&B singer, 24. Much younger. And Brenda Song, 36, actress. And, it's amazing now that we have the TikTok stars and stuff. So let me give a shout out to Tilly Mills, 13, TikTok star. And then we'll go over to Gray's World, 10. She's a YouTube star. It's a different world we live in, right? YouTube, TikTok stars. And there's a bunch of them on here. But, it's a shout out to them. And then for our city shout out today, Blanket, Texas. Shout out to you in Blanket, Texas. It's nice to have our great friends from Texas that come on board. Good morning, Miss Elizabeth. I hope that you have a great day as you head on to the schoolhouse. I'll be taking some kiddos there here soon. It's good to have you. Appreciate you being in the stream last night. Kind of a discombobulated stream for me. I had some stuff going on. My granddaughter scared me. I thought there was an emergency, and and I'm glad she did. She did a good job. It's not a knock. It just when something like that happens, scared me, and she did good. But it took me a minute to get my heart rate back down and kind of get back going. So I took a few minutes just to kind of get back in a zone. But it's good to have you here this morning. And don't forget, folks, again, Southern Fried Racing Hour tonight with Dean Potts. Dave and Dean, I'm enjoying that. And then me and Rob back for the ever infamous Cornbread Nation. And the is always announced on the day of the Redneck Destination. I did release the info that it's going to be a kind of a redneck scary park, kind of a, it's kind of like going the old, around here would be the, going into Lake Winnipesaukee, and you go into the little scary house. But this is a whole park dedicated to it. And we will be west, young man, west of, we're not east. We've been in the east. We're actually going Midwest, and our Redneck Destination. That's the only hint I'll give you. Tune in tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And somewhere in the second half of that show, we will announce the destination, a town that I've actually been in many years ago. I spent the night in this town, and it has an Old West connection. And we'll talk about that tonight. But that is our Redneck Destination. And believe me, it's a great location for this. I spent a wonderful about 30 hours, I guess, in the city, counting both days, and went to a park in this city and had just a great time. I was doing some ministry. I was making calls and stuff, but I went to a beautiful location there. But tonight we're not going to the beautiful park. We're going to Redneck Park. So we'll talk about that tonight. Of course, our other features, the great breadheads in history, our jacklegs of the week, fan mail with Rob, and whatever else. We have lots of other things. Our Southern Rock Band of the week. We'll talk about that. And I'm sure that the boys will be along, the boys being Uncle Jeb and Georgia Bubba. My wife was in the studio last night for a bit. Never been in the studio, and she was listening in and playing on her phone and enjoying the chit chat. And but she had never seen. She had seen them when we first got them, but she had not been in the studio with them. So they had a little dialogue back and forth, just a little bit, but it was fun. I hope for a good work day. Yesterday was, it was a good day, but it had tough parts to it as well. We're still navigating through some, through some hard days. It's just been a hard last about 2.5 weeks now, and every day is. Some days are easier than others. Some days it's a new level of pain, and so you just you do what you can. Um, Celtic Blacksmith says, I was driving, so I couldn't say anything, but my heart breaks and I'll never see ZZ Top perform live. Rest in peace, Dusty. Yes, I get it, and I have the same feelings about Van Halen. I never saw them live, and I don't know why that happened. I had went to so many shows. The timing was just off, and when it just didn't happen. And I'm glad I went to that. And I think me and my wife actually both went to that. And it was the Afterburner tour. I'm almost certain of that. And they had the spinning guitars, and it was a great show. It's in the little arena that we have here in town, and I'm sure that it was a much bigger deal and a bigger arena. But for us, they scaled some of the stage down a little bit. I think they just can't do the full stage, but it was a really good show. ZZ's one of those bands. They still have some of the imagery, and I remember the thing that was behind them. They had these things that came up and into the nose of it. It was made to look like that you were snorting cocaine is what it was. And I just shook my head like, okay. But a great band. It's funny, Steve, to go back and look at the early pictures of the band. That before they had the beards, they were clean shaven. It just don't even look right. I mean, because we're so used to the classic look, and of course Frank on the drums, who didn't always have any kind of facial hair, but he didn't have the long beard. He had mustache, I believe, but he was a little more clean shaven. But the guys up front, they had the long beards, and that's the classic look. But yeah, great band. I like all the hits. Under Pressure, I actually selected. I wanted that one of all the, and there's a couple others that I really, because you hear the others on the radio. There's nothing wrong with it, and they're great songs. But I was looking for something that was they don't play quite as much as Legs or some of the others. But TV Dinners, that's another one of my favorites. But I just great guys. I remember that. Billy said that he plays with very light, very small strings, very light. He says they work. Why do you want to work hard with these heavy strings? And so he has the strings. I mean, where as light as he can get them, as small where they don't just obviously sound crazy. That way he doesn't have to put much pressure to negotiate the strings. And some guitarists go for really heavy strings. Steve goes on to say the irony is one member not having a beard, big fried beard. That's never lost on anyone. Yeah. Oh, it's like ZZ Top's dad joke to all of us. Yes, that's true. So true. I was thinking it in my head. I'm glad you said it because I was thinking it, like here's this guy, Frank Beard, and he doesn't have the beard, but, great, just great. That's, I was, let's see. Oh, Eliminator came out. What was that, about 83, 84? I think that's about right, 83, 84. So I was still, very young. I mean, I was 18 or 19 years old, depending on the year. I want to say it was 84. And then Afterburner was 85, 86, something like that. I may have that slightly wrong. I think that's about right. But, man, they dominated the airwaves in the day. Dominated. And I still have. I need to round that up. I'll have to bring that in the studio. I still have the Eliminator album. Yes, still have that. That was perfect timing for them as well. We talked about MTV. 83 for Eliminator. Okay, 83. So that same, what I talked about, Def Leppard and Pyromania, 83 for Eliminator, hitting, same thing. Those videos, bunch of young kids watching, guys watching MTV. Perfect, dude. They just killed it. I mean, killed it. Album sales through the roof, big tour. I mean, they were stars already. It wasn't like they weren't known. They were very well known, had a huge following, but that put them in the stratosphere. And I'm sure there were ZZ Top fans that thought, sell out, because it's kind of like the Metallica, the Black Album. Oh, come on, sell out. And then later on, they really called them sell out. You know what? You become much bigger. So I guess you could call it that. To each his own. What I say is that it expands your market to a much bigger audience. And it's funny because I get it. If you were a Metallica fan and you went to the concert for the Black Album and you had been to their previous concerts, you would probably hate that crowd. And I had friends tell me this, like, yeah, where's all these yuppies coming in? They're like, Metallica, we're big fans, and they're like, you don't even have a clue. You just came on board. You don't know anything about, Kill 'Em All. You don't know anything about Master of Puppets. You shut up. So I'm sure ZZ Top fans were probably like that when the El Loco tour or whatever album it was, and then all of a sudden they're going, and it became trendy to be a ZZ Top fan. I'm sure there was some of that. So that's the challenge, right, for a band, is to tweak your sound where it appeals to a greater audience, but not lose your base. That's not always the easiest thing. And I think probably most bands probably went through a time frame like that. I'm sure Judas Priest, there's a little bit of that with them in their career. You could see it, not much, but there was a little bit where they became a little more radio friendly. But I think it's that way for all of them. But always will be a ZZ Top fan. So apples to oranges, ZZ Top sounded good the whole time. Metallica sounded generic and dull from day. Ouch! Dora the Explorer. Ouch! Wow! You know what, Steve? You never fail to impress me. How in the world that you brought ZZ Top, Metallica, and Dora the Explorer all in the same quote is legendary just in and of itself. I got to give you credit, man. I mean, wow. You're mine, man. It's a scary place, dude. I don't know. It's amazing to me how you do that. It's like Dora the Explorer. I used to watch it with my granddaughter, Dora the Explorer, you count, you do the colors and stuff. And the fact that you said that Metallica sounded generic and dull from day one, somebody just spit their coffee out across the world and said, what? How dare you besmirch the early days of Metallica? I got friends that would. I think you just did. I cannot express how little I think of Metallica. Wow, I never heard Dora the Explorer, Metallica in the same sentence. That's got to be the first time ever. Salute to you this morning, man. In the world, wow. We need to have a weekly. I need Steve just to record his either once a week or Monday through Friday or something. His music music critic. Steve, it's not movie music. Excuse me, Steve, the music critic of the day. Just give me these thoughts. I would just love it. And we go, okay, who's he going to bash today? It's kind of like the movie critics, they bash the new movie or whatever. Except Steve goes backwards and he looks at it. So this is the second. I mean, like he had his whole Aerosmith critique of the song. What was that? Was Walk This Way with it. I think that you correct me if I'm wrong. Now it's Metallica. I love it. Cheers. That one will stand out. Which is great, man. He says, "Oh, I make a lot of people mad with my music opinions. I also hate Sublime and Nirvana. Those tend to anger people pretty easily. Critics are career useless persons, but they make a lot of money doing it, dude." I love it, dude. That is hilarious, man. Oh, I hope you have a great day. I'll remember that one. Tour the Explorer. You killed me, man. Show over. I can't even think now. It's like